What's the difference in successful people and not successful people? Sacrifice, diligence, perseverance. There's a bunch of cliche words that I could use to describe the difference in people that are successful and people that are not successful. But probably the number one difference is sacrifice. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about 2020, the year 2021, and sacrifice and what that looks like. So let's get started. Hey guys, Dave Benz, Laundromat Millionaire here. I'm coming to you from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Today is New Year's Day, January 1st, 2021. And 2020 was a brutal year for a lot of people. Just like every other year, unfortunately, some people didn't make it out. And the virus has taken a toll on our country, emotionally, financially, and physically. But it's time to start a new year. It's New Year's Day. People have been talking about it for at least a few months, if not longer than that. And they've been talking about, I can't wait till next year. I can't wait till 2021 so we can put this horrible, horrible year behind us. I'm coming to you from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, because at the last minute, 10 days ago or so, my family and I just decided to get out of Cincinnati. We love Cincinnati. We love the cold weather. But it's also nice, especially in the middle of the winter in January or December, to get out of the Midwest and head to somewhere warm like Florida. So we decided to come down here for 6 or 7 days and just have a little, relaxation and celebrate the New Year's. And so that's what we did. It is now roughly 7 a.m. on New Year's Day. And I'm telling you, this city was hopping like you wouldn't believe. Last night, the city was absolutely on fire. Everywhere you went had waits. There was tons of people. So we just kind of kept to ourselves, tried to be a little bit more responsible. We came down to Florida with just some friends, and we just kind of kept ourselves to our own little bubble for the most part. If we went to the pool, we'd stay off to the side. And the reason I wanted to make this video today is because it's fairly early on New Year's Day, and it got me to thinking as I walked through my resort, and I came down the elevator. We're on the 24th floor. And I'm telling you, our resort is a ghost town. And it's at full capacity. They had told us the other day that every room in our resort is rented. And I'm not sure, I think it's 45, 50 floors. And there's resorts all around us that are also really, really big. I don't know if you can see those. Really big skyscrapers right on the beach, everywhere around us. And so it got me to thinking this morning, what separates successful people from not successful people? And I'm not talking about this morning. So if you're sleeping in, you had fun with your family last night, this isn't an attack on you and your family time. But this is more of a big picture mentality is what I'm thinking. And so I wanted to start my first video of 2021 by challenging you all, challenging my viewers to, if you're not already doing this, and I suspect you are, which is why you're following me, is to not look at 2021 as a refresher. Don't look back, look forward, but just continue to grind. And I talk about it constantly in my posts and some of my videos, that a big part of success, easily 50% of it, is being willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do. Sometimes that's taking risk that other people aren't willing to take, but a lot of times it's being willing to sacrifice when other people aren't willing to sacrifice. And so I'm sitting outside my resort right now because I didn't bring my my phone clip with me, so I'm holding my phone and recording this video for you all. But what I really wanted to do was to point out to you a few things. And one of them is, I came down to Florida and I happen to have several I happen to have several consulting clients in Florida, different parts of Florida. And so, yeah, we came down here on vacation, spending time with family. We've been at the beach, we've been at the pool, we've been out to eat a few times, and mostly just kind of relaxing. But I've also told you all that I'm really passionate about being an entrepreneur, about the laundry business in general, and I'm passionate about, consulting and teaching other people how to be successful in the industry beyond what most people recognize as the opportunity in our industry. And so I wanted to point out to you a few people, including myself, that are doing things a little bit differently today and yesterday. So earlier in the week, I got a little stir crazy because I'm not very good at relaxing for long periods of time. I can come down, spend a few days on the beach, but I get kind of antsy. And I'm not one to go play golf or those types of things. It's just not fun for me. But the reality is, business and entrepreneurship and teaching other people's is a game to me. It's fun, and it just happens to have tremendous rewards. But so I looked up when I got down here to Florida. I looked up to see if any of my clients were within an hour or two of my resort where we're staying, and it turns out two of them were. And so I reached out to those two a couple days ago, and I said, "Hey, I'm in the area. I was wondering if I could, find time, or you could find time later this week for me to drop by and spend a few hours with you. No charge, just kind of building relationships. I consider my clients friends, and so I just wanted to stop in and say hi and see how your operations are going. And while I'm there, if there's anything I can do to help or give advice or tips or whatever, then I'm happy to do that. But it's really just kind of a check-in." And so I reached out to two of my clients, and both of them immediately said yes. We hadn't decided a time, a date. I told them I was basically only down here for 5 or 6 days, but that I was fairly open. I didn't have much scheduled, and both of them immediately said yes. And these people are grinders. Like, one of them is already successful, and she's going to be taking herself to a different level success-wise. And then my other client is two brothers that are immigrants from Haiti. And these young men, I don't want to call them kids, they're in their late 20s, but these young men are grinders, and they are doing great things. They are at the very beginning of their entrepreneurial journey, if you will. And they're just getting started, but they are not afraid of hard work and sacrifice, and I have no doubt that in the next 5 to 10, 15 years, their level of success is just going to fly straight up. And so these are two of my all my clients. I don't work with people that I don't enjoy working with, but these people are special to me. And it just happened to be that I was in Florida, so I saw an opportunity to just jump in my rental car, go see them for a short period of time, and see if I could help them out and strengthen those relationships. And so my point in this video is, I'm down here on vacation with my family, and a lot of people would disagree that I took part of the time out of my vacation to quote unquote go work. And the reality is, that mentality right there is what separates us entrepreneurs, especially ones that reach fairly high levels, which I plan on doing. It's part of what separates us, but the thing that really separates us the most isn't actually that we're willing to do those things. It's the why. It's why we're willing to do those things. And yes, in some cases, especially early on, people are trying to build financial freedom, trying to build wealth, they're trying to quit their job. And obviously in my case, it's not really so much about money or making money. It's about, helping others, building relationships and things like that. But like I said earlier in the video, it's really ultimately about the fact that I love doing this. I'm a kind of a self-professed laundry nerd, and I love helping other people, and I also just love seeing laundromats and the way other people do things, and I'm always kind of obsessive about learning from other people. So I also reached out to them to help them and to build our relationship, but I also reached out hoping to learn something myself that will allow me to go back to Cincinnati and be a better laundromat operator, a better business owner, and a better entrepreneur and consultant. And so my point in this video is this: when I reached out to them, I gave them virtually no notice. The day I offered them a few different days without realizing it, but the days I offered them were New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And I said, hey, these are 2 days that I'm kind of available. And I didn't even realize it was New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Those days don't really mean a whole lot to me. I don't consider them a holiday. And so they didn't even register on my calendar, but it may have been important to them. I'm not sure. But the reality is they knew this was kind of a one-time opportunity where I was offering kind of free services. And I'm sure they also value my friendship and my relationship. But both of them immediately said yes before we could even figure out a date and a time. And long story short, I ended up going and spending 5 or 6 hours yesterday with the brothers I was referring to. And it was New Year's Eve, and I didn't leave until around 6 p.m. And the interesting thing is, it didn't even really register to me that it was New Year's Eve. But near the end of it, they made reference to that they actually had plans later that night. And they had, at the drop of a hat, with virtually no notice, immediately said yes to spending time with me. I'm sure, like I said, because they saw that I had, I was offering them free services, and that's a lot of times that's tough to find. So they were quick to say yes. And so the interesting thing about that was later in the evening, after I had spent part of the day with them, we celebrated New Year's Eve with our kids, and they got the little 2021, goggles and stuff like that. And we blew our little streamers and everything. We celebrated the new year, and then we all went to bed. I've gotten about 5 hours sleep. And as I was going to bed, I realized that the other meeting I had set up with my other client in another part of Florida for today, I had set up at 9 a.m. And I had done that because my family likes to sleep in, and I thought, man, I can get an hour or two of productivity under my belt while they're eating breakfast and still have the day with my family. And so that was the thinking behind it. But I didn't realize when I reached out to my other client, one, that I was trying to schedule this with her on New Year's Day, but that I was scheduling at 9 a.m. on New Year's Day. And I don't know her situation. Excuse me. I don't know if she stayed up late, had plans, went out, was out till 2 or 3 in the morning, or for all I know, she went to bed at 8 p.m. I have no idea. But the point is, she quickly said yes. And if she had plans, she changed those plans, I'm willing to bet, to make this happen, so that we could get together and spend a little bit of time together. And so I talk constantly about opportunity, and that we have to be prepared for opportunity. And we don't a lot of times get to choose when opportunity comes along. But what we do get to choose is how we react to that and whether we're prepared for that. And the reason I see great success in both of these clients in the future, and in the present, to be honest, is because they were so quick to say yes. They knew they would figure it out. I don't know if this required any sacrifice from them, but I would suspect it did, given the fact that it was New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and the client I'm heading out of my resort right now to meet with, she probably had to get up pretty early on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, just like I did. And then the last thing that I'll point out is myself. I'm down here on vacation with my family, and it would have been very easy for me to just kind of chill and relax for a week and sit on the beach and enjoy the pool. And it would have been very easy for me when I realized that it was New Year's Eve and it was New Year's Day to say, oh, that's probably not the best, or scheduled for New Year's Eve morning or New Year's Day morning, and say, oh, that's 9 a.m. That's too early for me. I'd have to get up at 6:30 to be able to drive to see you and get a shower and all these things. But I didn't do that, and neither did they. And my point in this isn't to pat myself on the back. My point is to prove to people that if you want to be successful, you have to constantly be preparing for opportunity that you don't even know is coming, or if it will ever come. But the reality is, there's always opportunities around us if you're looking for them. But it's amazing to me how many people that aren't really that successful in life, how they constantly miss those opportunities, because the reality is they say that these things are very important to them, but their actions suggest something different. And so how many people would have immediately said yes and made this happen? How many people would have gotten up at 6:30 a.m.? And by the way, I am not a morning person at all. Got up at 6:30 a.m. on New Year's Day after staying up until 12:30 or 1 o'clock to go try to help somebody else. The reality is, us entrepreneurs, us business owners, the ones that reach any level of success, are willing to sacrifice. But the more success that we're able to achieve in life is usually directly correlated to how much we're willing to sacrifice. And as I said, this is something I love to do, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't come without some sacrifices. And so really, I wanted to put this video out today and just encourage all of my followers and everyone on my channels to look at 2020 through a little bit different lens if you weren't already. If you were, good for you, you're probably way ahead of the curve. But if you weren't, maybe you can take this opportunity and this message coming to you to kind of drive you to a different level of growth, or maybe just shift your mindset. I'm not suggesting that, life shouldn't be lived to the fullest and that we shouldn't have relaxation and that we should be on 24/7, 365, because those things aren't healthy, and taking care of ourselves, health-wise is very important. But the reality is, if you want to separate yourself from the rest of the world, the way that you do that is by doing things that the rest of the world isn't willing to do. And there are certain things I'm not willing to sacrifice, like my morals and my values. I'm not willing to break the law to be successful, or to make money. But short of those things, there isn't a whole lot that I'm not willing to do to be successful. It's gotten me to where I am today. It's why in a fairly short period of time I could go from $20,000 in the bank to being a multimillionaire. It's why I'm able to make this vacation happen on a whim without any plan. It's why I'm financially able to afford it, but also just time-wise, my family has the financial freedom. But the reality is, the clients that I saw yesterday and today that made those sacrifices to make this meeting happen last minute without any notice, those people are on that same track. And I'm not exactly sure what their financial situation is. It's really none of my business. But the reality is, I know where they're going. I don't know where they are, but I know where they're going. And they're taking their businesses to great heights. And if you guys, I'm not going to mention your names, but if the clients I'm referring to out there are watching this video in the future, I just want to say that I'm really proud of you guys, because you guys are doing the hard work. You're grinding. It's one thing to get up and work really hard 9 to 5. A lot of people are willing to do that, but a lot of people aren't willing to go beyond that. And you guys are clearly willing to go beyond that and then some. And sometimes sacrifice isn't necessarily working more hours. Sometimes it's just being diligent. Sometimes it's being willing to sacrifice something like sleep, or I don't know if they changed their plans last night, but maybe they did, so that they didn't have to sacrifice sleep. But being successful in life is all about priorities, and it's all about opportunity, and it's all about sacrifice. And so I just wanted to put this video out there today just to kind of encourage everyone. If you don't already have this mentality, I highly recommend that you adopt it. And yes, there is some balance in there to keep it healthy. I'm not recommending that you sacrifice your family or your marriage or things like that, which I absolutely don't do. But the reality is, there's a lot of give and take between sacrificing the things that are core, very important, like your faith and your family and things like that, and sacrificing things like going out, partying, going out to eat, just, going on a boat with friends. If those things are really important to you, by all means, you are the one that is in charge of your life and you get to prioritize. But just keep in mind, every opportunity you have to sacrifice to better yourself and your family and to change your family tree, if you're not willing to do that, just keep in mind that somebody else probably is. They could be competitors of yours. And so just keep in mind that every opportunity you have like this that you turn down, there's people out there that aren't turning those down, and they're getting a leg up on you. So anyway, I wish everyone a fantastic year 2021. And if I can do anything to help out, please, by all means. Really, all I ask of you guys for this free content is just to subscribe to my channel. So click the subscribe button and the alert bell so you get those notifications. And just do me a favor, like my videos. It helps me out. It helps me get my content out there. But if I can help in any way, laundromatmillionaire.com. You guys have a fantastic 2021, and we'll talk soon.